to have a structured volunteering. I give an example. It's not, these are just examples. It doesn't mean that this is the only place you will volunteer. I said you can volunteer for any organization at any location. Though I will encourage young people to begin volunteering with organizations like Red Cross, Road Safety. Do you know why? Because these organizations will help you to understand patriotism. I'm glad I have an active, a fellow Red Cross volunteer right behind. Please wave your hands. Let's hear. Let's clap. It's not easy. I'm a volunteer for Red Cross. I'm a volunteer for Road Safety. I'm a volunteer for Amnesty International. I'm a volunteer for different organizations. I was a volunteer for CNN at the point. You know, all these journeys, right? They are difficult journeys. But do you know the joy for us is the impact of what we do. As a volunteer for Red Cross, you want to understand patriotism is that there was a building collapse in Jabi some years ago. A portion of the building collapsed. People were afraid running away. Red Cross, NEMA were running towards that building that people were running away from. What were they going to do? To save lives. Because every second counts. Unfortunately, our lives are on the line sometimes. Yes. Last week, I was watching a documentary in the Discovery Channel, 9/11, moments before disaster. What happened? When the first plane struck the first tower, New York Fire Department, they mobilized to see how they can help people. The fire was blazing from the top. Things were melting. They can't go there. You're talking about the World Trade Tower. That's I'm not sure the amount of I'm not sure the amount of storage, but almost 1,000 or so thereabouts. You get. So there's logistics issue going up because nothing is functioning anymore. This lift is not working, and in emergency you don't go use lift. And the thing struck the towers up, hundreds up. So how would you climb? So there were logistics issues. They were planning on the ground floor. Each moment they are negotiating how they can go about it, they will hear a bang on the roof because they were at the lobby. That bang on the roof signifies somebody just dying. You know why? Because the heat is too much. They ran to the window. Imagine we're on the last floor, 1,000 floor. The fire is burning. We now came out of the window from up. The fire is coming to you. No option that you have to let go. So they will fall on the roof. Each time the thing struck, you can see their faces. They know that somebody just died. It got to a point, they shook themselves that we may never see ourselves again, but let's do this. And they entered. Unfortunately, not all of them made it alive. Most of them died, but 90% of them. Do you know how they died? When they were trying to rescue people, the second jet entered the second wing, right? So they split themselves into two. You know the radar was stretched. The other guys went that way. In the course of trying to rescue people, the first tower collapsed. Everybody. Those who had rescued others outside, some didn't die from the collapse building. Some died from the debris. Breathing in those debris, those things. You know, it's some died of asphyxiation, lack of oxygen. Why am I telling you all these things? It's for you to understand patriotism. When we volunteer for Red Cross, I wasn't aware that this is what happened. We are aware. But it's a choice. That's why I encourage people, if you want to understand patriotism, road safety, for example, we stand on the road, compulsorily you must go on patrol once a week. But as a road safety volunteer, almost every day you're on the road. But compulsorily you must be on the road once a week. There's many dangers on the road. There are times I'll be driving to a destination, we'll see an accident scene. I have a commitment somewhere. You have to park to save lives first. It's a personal oath you've taken. You have to save life first. So these institutions teach you volunteer what it means to love your nation. Unless you have the love for your country, you will not mortgage your personal program for. There were times I'll be going for something with my friends or family, and there will be emergency. I might be the one driving. I'll come down to take over. You guys should do. So, that's the power of serving your nation. So,
sir, I want to say something.
Okay, yes.
Thank you very much, sir. You are talking about, let me say, organizations that you can volunteer. And you mentioned Road Safety Society. I know the Nigerian Red Cross Society has been doing wonderfully well. When I was in camp, I also joined. But then the Road Safety Society, when you spoke about being patriotic, to me, I don't look at them being patriotic.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
What's the reason?
The reason is this. If you are patriotic, you will not be corrupt, you will not collect bribe.
There you go. Stereotype.
Because
You're stereotyping.
no,
What mean of stereotype?
yes sir. But in essence, what I'm trying to say is this. These days, you see road safety collecting, let me say, bribe.
Did you see me collecting bribe?
No sir.
Stereotype. No, even among the regular marshals, how many of them? So that's part of our learning here. That one person or a group of people are bad does not mean that everyone. I'll tell you a story. During the NSAS, I was telling you guys, because of time, I managed an aspect, right? When I was invited, after I spoke, after I educated them on their fundamental human rights and people got involved, right? The thing was getting to an extent, I was hearing people saying something about police, this and that, I wanted to leave. I was getting ready to leave, but I said, I need to put a perspective. And I took over the microphone and I told them, though we protest about the injustice in the system, and the wrong actions of some police, we should know that the police are not our enemies. They almost told me. I'm telling you, if those I didn't remember to check those, if those links in Sahara reporters were still there, you will see it. They chased me. I told them, in as much as we are aggrieved, we should know that these police officers we see, there are many fine police. There are people who still put their lives on the line. There are people's husbands and brothers and sons who still believe in this country, who will not want to mortgage the future of this country and rather they protect the citizens. They almost told me. There's a political party who were championing one kind of message. I don't want to mention it, because I don't want to mention it. It's not APC or PDP, so don't be suspecting. It's one. It's driven by a young person anyway.
Show it.
They were more interested by I have to put the perspective right. I'm not part of your political whatever or your this thing. But the fact that I'm a public person and if I'm making a statement, it has to be fair. So why did I have to bring that up? As bad as SARS was, I have seen good SARS people. I have. In 2019, I went home for something to visit my mom and all that. So, and something happened. My administration. People were condemning this man up and down, and this man is this and that. Then somebody, I was in a public space, and somebody said, "You say this man is not doing well, but the latest international report on the economy states that Nigeria is one of the fastest growing economy in the world, and number one in Africa." Say, forget, they don't go bribe CNN now. That's why. It's not bribe CNN. But when CNN gave a report the next week that Nigeria is one of the worst places to stay because of Boko Haram killing Christians and burning churches, they say it's true. You see, it was even in CNN. CNN said it. Do you understand? Negative narrative is more interesting to people. The same CNN that said that Nigeria is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, you said they were paid. But they were talking about the ills of the country now. You were saying, you see, this is what they said. They said our soldiers don't even have guns. I watched the report on CNN. The same CNN you said somebody paid. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have to strike the balance as active citizens. Alright? So let me continue because there will be enough time to interact. So, you come back.
Sir,
Come back. How to volunteer?
sorry.
You identify a desire or a problem. A desire you want to achieve or a problem you want to solve. That's one. So we're talking about can I have does anybody have a copy of my book here?
Yeah.
Please. Thank you. I'll just sign it for you to remind me.
Okay.
Can you go forward a little? Go forward. Come back. Come back. Come back. Okay, yeah, no, forward. Okay, that's fine. So, there's an aspect that I'll meet in. That's why I came here. First of all, you must understand something. Volunteer patterns. Before you begin your journey, you need to understand volunteer patterns. One, there are informal ways of volunteering. Let me read from this. Volunteering in Nigeria, as well as some other parts of the world, remains unstructured. This alone makes the work of many volunteers unnoticed and most unlikely to track. Understanding volunteer patterns alone would help stakeholders to plan effective ways volunteering can be enhanced and prevent abuse as well. There are two forms of volunteering pattern: formal and informal. So when you talk about volunteer patterns, you have formal volunteering and informal ways of volunteering. The informal now. These are the little acts of service and volunteering many people do in their local environment without having it categorized as volunteering. You know, I mentioned that some of you would have done a whole lot of volunteering and you're not aware, right?
Yes.
Yes, they were informal volunteering, but you felt that you're just doing good. Many capture it as though they were rendering help. The traditional African settings filled with people who volunteer from so many causes, ranging from neighbor who volunteers to care for the children of a friend who may have gone to the city for days, weeks, or perhaps months. Does this happen? Someone is traveling, I beg, make my children there your house so I can feel they go to school until I come back, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. That process, you volunteer to care for those children and all those things. But you just saw it like you're helping. You don't see that aspect as a volunteer exercise. Or you talk about the youth who would organize themselves together to dig trenches within homes in the community to reduce flooding in their homes. They do what they do without even knowing that they are volunteers. And as such, most informal volunteers may not deliberately document their experiences. So the essence of we having this conversation, we are moving towards documenting your volunteer experience. So that's why we're going through this background. We're going to end at that documenting your volunteer experience and leveraging on it as the essence of this class. Many people indulge in volunteering in their communities without knowing they have actually volunteered in that way. Volunteering was deeply rooted in African culture, or is deeply rooted in African culture for centuries. However, it is gradually fading away. Is it true or not? It is. Not to that policy. President Buhari wrote something very interesting. He, oh, just one second, hold on. I want to quote exactly what he said. This is the working policy of volunteering, making Nigeria one of the few countries in the world with a national volunteer policy on volunteering. This was possible through the painstaking efforts of collaboration between the Nigerian National Volunteer Service under the Office of the Secretary of the State to the government and partners like United Nations Volunteers, Voluntary Service Organization, which is BSO, and others. The first paragraph in the background of the National Policy on Inclusive Volunteerism for Nigeria clearly states that volunteerism has long existed in Nigeria, both formal and informal. In addition, the background went on to identify that volunteerism is an integral part of our culture, which extends to every aspect of our lives. This statement is very correct, as many Nigerians in the past and present have indulged in various degrees of volunteering. However, the knowledge and attitude towards volunteering today has not been the same. This, according to President Buhari in his foreword to the policy document, stated that the federal government has been consistently making efforts to galvanize Nigerians to reawaken, not the word, reawaken their culture of volunteering as a complement to strengthening government development strategies for the nation. Yeah, so that's from the former president. Anyway, so now, now, can we listen? Is that Sunny? No, what's your name? What? Ibrahim.
What is AC to be increased?
Okay. So next time, just sit that our project team and whisper, please. All right. Okay. So when I was mentioning initially, I said one of the ways people can volunteer is you can volunteer with organizations like Red Cross and Road Safety, right? But that's not the only places you can volunteer. You can volunteer in the mosque, in the church. Are we aware? Many Catholics render different forms of volunteering. I'm giving an example to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, shelter the homeless, give drinks to the thirsty, visit the sick, visit the imprisoned, bury the dead. And what are those things?
Corporal volunteering.
You are volunteering. Most of the projects you guys do is not within hunger. What are the global goals? Faith. That's what the faith. That's your faith is a corporal works of mercy, which is true. But the essence of this conversation is that we need to understand how volunteering is structured. In your church, I was born into a Catholic home, right? But my formative years was in the Protestant church, the Pentecostal church. I was worshiping in church commission then, But that was she's smiling. But I was born into a Catholic home. So I got a bit of everyone. And some of my closest friends are Muslims. So you see everywhere. Now, let me tell you this. The things we did in church at that time, all those projects, we'll do agape program, all those things, right? If we organized them properly at that time, we were running organizations. That is what Save the Children is doing. Save the Children is not an organization. We as youths, we're kind of youths, we're teenagers at that time, because the youth age now is between by UN standard is from 16. We're teenagers, 14, all those things. When we're 14, 15, 16. At that time. But we indulge in programs that, because we're not doing programs to support children, younger children. We do programs for teenagers and youth. IT group in your church who does hospital visitation, coordinate clothing to the needy and all those things. It's a project you're already doing. Meanwhile, the UN are looking for a logistics officer who will coordinate relief material. You say, I'm not getting that experience. Is there no other experience than what you've done? But people don't know how to document it. Do you understand? What?
Sorry, sir, you talked about burying the dead. In our contemporary world, if we, as citizens, we do not have the legal right to bury the dead, perhaps someone just died.
No, understand her question.
Okay, don't worry. Okay, let me help you. Okay,
Yes.
good.
I understand.
You are driving across the street now, and you saw an accident victim. The person has died on the floor. Everybody was driving, everybody just keep passing by. As an active citizen, what will you do? You will call AMAC that there's a body you saw there. It's been there for 2 days. The government arm of the government arm that handles that will come and carry that person. You have helped in burying that person. The person will be there for a while as a procedure. If the body has not decomposed, they might take the person to the mortuary. But if they are not able to identify the relative, at the end of the day, the bodies will be buried. That body could have decomposed along the road. Do you understand? I'm giving a different context from the corporal works of medicine now to relate to the fact that yes.
So I want to add, you can bury the dead in different.
The night I received a call and I lost my sister. You see all those plans I had, all those things, and I didn't mean anything. I sent a mail to the embassy. The time I was supposed to come was still further down. I sent a mail to the embassy one upon a time, coming earlier. But that's not the story. I'm coming to the main story. When I came back for the burial and all those things, we were so pained that I don't